What is up, everybody? Today I have kind of a different type of review or comparison for that matter. And these are two phones that I've honed individually. I didn't hone them, I own them. And these two phones are kind of interesting because they're not necessarily flagships in a way, but they are from their same company. And it's the LG V10 and the LG V20. Now, I will say the upgrade between these phones is actually pretty big. You go from like a single camera to a dual camera and a kind of a bigger screen almost in a way, but not really. Starting off, the bodies are almost kind of similar, but not really. You go with kind of a more rounded shape and kind of older looking phone on the LG V10 and kind of a more updated body on the LG V20. Now looking at them and looking around, they both do have removable backs, and you also have fingerprint sensors on the back of both of them. And looking on the front, it's probably the weirdest thing. It's such a gimmick. I don't even know why they did this. I know why they did, so they can differentiate between the phones, between this phone and probably like the LG V6, LG G6 or whatever. But the screen up top is something that either you love it or you hate it. Me personally, I don't like it. And the weird thing is that I don't know why, but the LG V10 had two cameras on the front and the LG V20 only has one camera on the front. So maybe LG learned their lesson, and maybe I don't know why they switched the dual camera to the back on the V20. So who knows what happened or what they were thinking, but they have that. Now they're both IPS panels and they're both the same exact 1440p panel, and I honestly do think that they use the same exact panel, but the screen to body ratio actually went up on the V20, so there's less body and more screen. So I don't know if they increased the screen or not. So that's why I kind of hesitated on saying it had a bigger screen or whatever, but yeah, that's pretty much it. The secondaries display is also the same thing, 2.1 inches, 160 by 1040, and that's pretty much more. That's really, you can't really talk too much about it. Now, in terms of the OS, I had the LG V10 that started off getting Android 5.1.1 Lollipop, and it is upgradable to Android 7.0, which kind of sucks because it's already like 2 years almost out of date. But on the LG V20, it started off getting Android Nougat, and it is upgradable to Android Oreo. And once Android 9.0 comes out, I'm pretty sure it's going to get that. Then it'll stop with updates, which also it'll only get like 3 full versions of Android, which is pretty decent. Most companies only stop at like 2 or 1, so hopefully this can get like another version of Android. That would be sick. Now, in terms of the specs and the difference, really on paper, it's kind of weird, but once I explain it, you will kind of know it's a little bit better with the upgrade. But you went from a hexa-core processor at 1.4 gigahertz, an Adreno 418 GPU, and 4 gigabytes of RAM to a Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 processor, a quad-core processor clocked at 2.15 gigahertz, and 4 gigabytes of RAM. So technically, you do have less cores, but those cores are clocked higher. And that's probably the best way to put it. The Snapdragon 808 wasn't necessarily the best. The Snapdragon 820 isn't amazing either, but it's very, very good. And for a phone of this size and price range, it's pretty decent. Now, one thing that I have to say is that both these phones do have microSD card slots, but the LG V10 surprisingly only allows you to go up to 256 gigabytes, whereas the LG V20 lets you go up to 512 gigabytes. So really between the two, I mean, you kind of have to choose. The upgrade definitely is noticeable, and if that's something you plan on doing is having, phone with twice the amount of memory than my laptop, then go for it, but you do have to kind of consider that going forward. But switching to the cameras, they're both 16 megapixel sensors, but on the LG V20 you do have a secondary lens, and there's no competition. The V20 is better, and it should be better because it's a newer phone, but it's not like 30 times better or anything. Now with the V20, you do have a way to get more of in the picture. I have no idea what it's called. I always keep forgetting, but it's like almost like an ultra wide lens. You do kind of have that effect on the V20, and I love that feature so much. You also have laser autofocus on both and optical image stabilization. And you also have dual LED flash on the V20. Now in terms of video recording sizes, they both record 4K videos, and they both have exactly the same type of video recording formats. So 1080p at 30 frames per second and 720p at 120 frames per second. And they both have 5 megapixel front cameras. So surprisingly, they both are almost similar. Just know that the V20 does have a secondary lens that allows you to use more features. So that is kind of cool, but really, is it worth the extra money? I mean, we'll get into that in a second. Now, both these, like I said, have fingerprint sensors and everything. Now, switching to the battery life, the greatest thing about this phone and the V10 is that they both have removable backs with removable batteries. And that is something that when I try to get a phone, I look at the most. And I can tell you right now, from man to man or man to woman or woman to woman, whoever you are, the V10 battery life isn't as good as the V20, and that has mostly to do with the 200 milliamp hour increase in size. The LG V10, I don't know why, but it's decent, but the V20's battery life is noticeably better. I found standby time to be a little bit better too, but these are removable, so you can easily just charge up another battery and swap it out. So the V20 definitely is better in battery life, but not by like mounds and leaps, but it's noticeably better. Some other notable things to note: I kind of like the back of the LG V10, and I think it looks better than the LG V20, but the LG V20 does look a little bit more professional. Another thing to note, I don't like the screen up top. I wish it was just all screen or no screen, or I wish they used the OLED panel for the top. I'm almost 90% positive it's not OLED, which kind of sucks, and it's just kind of unnecessary to have a screen like that powered up all the time. It's not really giving you any useful information that a watch couldn't give you or something, And so, I mean, if it's between the two, which one should you get? I mean, obviously, if you can afford it, get the LG V20. It's a very, very decent phone. I will leave a link in the description so you can get one. But I don't think the LG V10 is horrible either. I mean, it's on Android Nougat. I'm pretty sure that you can root it and ROM it, so I would really recommend you guys doing that too. But really, if it's between the two, get the V20. But if you can save more money, get the V10. This isn't like a huge difference between these two, if I'm being honest. So really, you can't go wrong with both. The V20 is newer, so I would recommend you getting that. But the V10 is also a pretty decent phone too. So that's where I'm going to leave it at. I'll leave links in the description for the lowest priced phones I can find. If you're interested in either of these, definitely get them through that link so you can help support the channel at the same time. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, but definitely hit that subscribe button. We are still giving away an iPhone 6s and an iPhone SE on this channel, and in order to enter, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Both those links are down in the description, so make sure you enter that. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.